Hi everyone, and welcome to the fourth video of show reviews as done by me, Diane, for the unofficial Drew Carey's Improv-A-Ganza channel. Once more, as always, I really do appreciate you taking your time to listen to these. I hope you're enjoying them. I hope it's giving you some sort of information about the shows and a little bit about my experiences watching them. And letting you know at least what games were played, who was involved in what game, and so forth. And maybe in hopes that it will, create that excitement, get you a little bit more worked up for the new show when it airs on March 28th. I have already reviewed one of my shows that I went to, and so now I'm going to continue with the second show I was at, which was on Friday. March, it was reset. It was on Friday, January 14th, 2011. And there were two shows filmed that day, so this was the early show. And the early shows are quicker than the later shows because they have a time limit. The later shows do not. This show had Chip Eston, Jeff B. Davis, Colin Mockery, Kathy Kinney, Brad Sherwood, and Drew Carey. Again, 6 people. It was the same 6 people as the first show. That was who was in it again. And once more, they started off with the game Freeze Tag, which does involve all players. I will say this right now, because people will probably notice this as my reviews go on. A lot of the same games were played. There were a few different ones, but a lot of the same games were played. Personally, I wish more games were being played. And because I'm not there for the next set of tapings, maybe they're adding in more games that I'm not aware of right now. When I go back for the last 6 tapings, perhaps there will be more new games, I hope, because I do think they need a little bit more variety. But again, that's just me. Green Screen Show didn't really have a whole wide variety of games, and it worked okay. So, who knows? Not even Whose Line didn't have that many games. It just seemed like a lot. But there were a few games that I think could have been added in. But who knows? Anyway. So yes, I'm going to recontinue. Freeze Tag. And then, the second game was again New Choice. This had, Drew and Brad. And it was a relationship of a doctor and a patient. And, it took place near a lake. Doctor and a patient near a lake. Yes, I don't understand that either. But it worked alright and it was a funny scene. The third game had Chip and Jeff, and they did the song to an audience member. And this was in the style of a jazzy disco ballad. Yes, a jazzy disco ballad. Again, I'm not quite certain what that means, but it worked well because Chip and Jeff are absolutely superb singers. I know there's a lot of people who are upset that Wayne Brady is not a part of the shows, that they're lamenting that Wayne's not going to be there because they think that, he's a great singer, and Wayne is a talented singer. I'm not going to deny that. But Chip and Jeff and Brad and even Sean and Jonathan are all also very, very talented singers. I've even seen Drew and Kathy singing, and Kathy especially, her voice she's really worked on it. Her talent as a singer has definitely improved. And Chip and Jeff have been singing together for years now, because they do it for the Who's Live Anyway shows, as well as when they do all the Improv All-Star shows. So they are just as good as Wayne Brady, if not better, when it comes to doing the songs. So if you are dismayed at all about Wayne, you know, I apologize that he's not going to be there, but please listen to the others when they sing, because hopefully they will change your mind, and that they will at least, you know, make you say that, yeah, they're just as good as Wayne, and we're not sad for Wayne to be gone, and that you can enjoy their talent just as much. The fourth game that was played was, again, Options with Kathy and Colin, and for some reason I didn't write down what the setting was for that game, so oh well. The fifth game was Question This. Again, remember, it was Jeopardy, and it involved everyone but Jeff. Again, Question This can be quite good, but it all depends on what the audience suggests for different titles of things. Different suggestions would be like, you know, example, periodic table of elements, and someone might say uranium, which of course, that in itself sounds funny. And then they have to give a witty question for the answer. Because remember, it's just like Jeopardy, except not. It's called Question This. And there were many, many, many jokes about the word Jeopardy, because of obvious reasons. Sorry, I was getting a bit of water. The next game that was played was Moving People with Colin and Jeff. And the scene was the Alamo. I remember this one particularly because I believe Jeff was stabbing Colin in the shoulder with an arrow repeatedly, and I remember finding that very, very funny. I liked that Moving People a lot, I think. The next game was Sentences with Drew and Kathy, and they did the soap opera called I Slept with My Boss. Yeah. Which the suggestion came from a lady sitting to my right, actually. The eighth show had Jeff and Drew and Kathy and Chip. And I didn't write down what it was. Haha. But I think it was two-headed expert again. I believe it was. And it was something to do with a science class. Yes, it was two-headed expert. And it was in a science class. Except they didn't really do it in the expert sense. They just had it be a generic scene that took place in a science class. The rest of the two-headed expert games were played more with the one's an expert, one's trying to learn from the other. But this one was more of just a generic. One was a classroom teacher, and the other one was a student. The ninth game was Sound Effects with Colin and Brad, and they were lumberjacks. And I really liked this sound effects, and I liked it because I was a part of it. I was pulled up to do the sound effects for this game, and I did sound effects for Colin Mockery, and that was the time when I was losing my voice, so that alone made it quite difficult. Sound effects is a lot harder to play than I ever would have imagined, and it was just really difficult coming up with some certain sound effects. One of my favorite sound effect that I did, though, was a Wolverine, and it created quite a bit of a laugh. And but again, it was pretty difficult, but I had a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed being a part of it. And I was very glad to be able to go up on stage and do sound effects, especially with the very talented Colin Mockery. The 10th game was, and the final game. No, it was not the final game. The second of the final game was Greatest Hits, and I have to hurry, with Colin and Chip and Jeff and Brad were the singers. Yes, Jeff and Brad. And they did a folk song, they did reggae, and they did a western about the lawyer. And the last game they did was Fairy Tale, which was called Outfit and Monkey. And Fairy Tale is a group of them. They all just make up a fairy tale a bit at a time. And that's that. That was the second show. And my next video will be my review of the third show. Alright, see you there.